All right. Another episode here. We got a pretty interesting group of guys here. These guys all went to high school together. They're on to college now. They're all playing college ball, but they went to Pascack Hills High School. And they did something that is very rare in high school sports, specifically in New Jersey, that is kind of been glorified and rightfully so. It's called the Triple Crown. It's when you win your league, it's when you win the county, it's when you win the state. And these guys were part of a team that did it. So we got Paul Sullivan from Iona, Jack Brodsky from Emory. Is that how I say it, Jack?
Yeah, Emory.
Emory. And then Ryan Ramsey from Maryland. So thank you guys for coming on. And let's just hop right into questions. So, Paul, I'm going to start with you. You kind of just got back from Tommy John, right? Or you're recovering from it right now?
Yeah, it was a year ago, like 4 days ago, actually.
Okay. So talk to me about that whole recovery process, what you learned from it, what, you're hoping to take with you once you're back in the field.
Yeah, so I'm still going through it. I've been taking the slow route, honestly, because I got hurt so the end of my freshman year. So
Okay.
I knew I was going to redshirt my sophomore year. So, I've just been taking it really, really slow with, the training staff and my coaches and everything. So I'm just getting back on the mound. I've thrown a few bullpens off the mound at 75, 80%. And I'm trying to work my way up, getting my arm strength back. I think definitely looking back at so far, it's been a year. So looking back at this whole year, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned is never take anything for granted. Cause I just went out that day thinking I was going for a save against Quinnipiac, and I throw a curveball and my elbow pops, and it's your whole life changes for the next year. I had plans to play summer ball, all this, and the rest of the year just kind of takes a huge turn. So I think the biggest life lesson is never take anything for granted, and kind of, you always gotta work as hard as you can at things you love. And this is baseball is something I love, obviously, and this has been a really long road back, and still not even fully back yet. But I mean, doing it because I love it, and I don't think I'd want it any other way,
So when your elbow popped, was it kind of like a lingering injury, or just that one curveball you felt something?
Honestly, it was maybe a little bit of slight overuse my freshman year. I went from being a bullpen guy to a starter, and then towards the end of the year, towards conference play, I went back to the bullpen, and I was throwing 2 days every weekend, sometimes during the midweeks, and I felt a little tired, but no pain, nothing. And then on that curveball, I felt a pop, and the trainer came out because he saw me playing with my elbow. He's like, "What happened?" I was like, "I don't know." I kind of felt like a pop. It didn't hurt too bad. It
Right.
just a weird pop, and I was like, "Can I try to throw another pitch?" And he's like, "He did a few tests on me on the mound," and he's like, "I don't really suggest it, but I didn't really want to come out of the game yet, so I convinced them to let me throw another pitch, and it wasn't even close to the catcher. They got it on the radar gun. It was 70 miles an hour. I tried throwing it as hard as I could, and I was like, I'm not making it.
Right.
I walked off the mound with my coaches and the training staff, and I think I knew right there that was the end of my season, and definitely the end of summer ball for me. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, listen, just take whatever you can throughout the whole process. And I mean, you kind of got somewhat lucky with, the season being canceled. So
yeah, that was definitely something that everyone keeps telling me. I mean, I had to watch a few games from home during the beginning of the season, which hurt a little bit, but like you said, if it had to happen any other time, this was the time, I guess.
Right. So Ramsey, I want to talk to you now. So you were pitcher of the year, right? Your junior year, 2018.
Yep.
All right, cool. So then your senior year, you continued that kind of dominance, and you were drafted in the 36th round by the Indians. So what I want to ask you is kind of your development period. What do you think was your defining factor, or two or three factors that kind of let you break out to become the pitcher of the year in New Jersey?
Well, I know from freshman year to sophomore year, I was 120, really low 100s.
Hard to hear you, Ramsey. Speak up. Speak up.
You can't hear me? Oh,
No, no, you're good. You're good.
Might be can you hear me good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I was like freshman, sophomore year, I was really low in weight. And then once I started, realizing this could be a path, I started really working towards like gaining weight, eating the right things. Um, and just about junior year, that's when it kind of rolled around that my weight was 180-ish. And I think that extra weight just allowed me to throw a little bit harder. Really confident in my stuff. I think I didn't use it as much as my junior year, but I kind of developed a changeup during my junior year and used it a little bit towards the end. And that's kind of one of the things that helped me break out. Also, my curveball. I mean, not many guys in high school are going to be able to hit high 80s, low 90s,
Yeah.
and be able to see a curveball. So that kind of really helped me in that year, and then kind of bringing the changeup into the whole picture my senior year. That's kind of where it all led to.
Okay. And then when you were drafted by the Indians, what was kind of the thought process of deciding between going there, going to Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard decision. You're just deciding basically the rest of your career with baseball. I think with a lot of guys, it's kind of what makes more sense at the time. And for me, it was definitely college. Being able to get an education at Maryland is especially important for me. And then also just being able to experience stuff. Like, you don't get to experience college life going straight to the minors.
Right.
And you can't take anything for granted, like Paul said. So I mean, you got to go to college, work your stuff out, and it's a great time to develop and become a better player, and probably get a higher draft pick once you go through college.
Absolutely. So Jack, I mean, have you kind of seen that, Jack, kind of like being able to like, develop as a player yourself? Because like I've even heard things about you, because I know Sullivan and Ramsey were always like like the hard throwers, but I've heard some rumors around Montvale saying that you got like some pro ball potential. So like I kind of want to ask you about that, whether that's in your future, but then also your your development in college so far.
I would definitely say that from high school and the year and a half that I was able to play at school, there's been a development. You could even ask Paul. My friends say it all the time. Senior year, I was this scrawny, like 175-pound, like just I only had muscle because I ate the right things and I do like body workouts. But once I
Right.
got to school, I started to lift more. I'm throwing a lot harder now. It's my whole routine changed. So I mean, I have aspirations to try and go pro. I still have another, with this year that they give us back, I now have another 3 years
Right.
of eligibility. Who knows what could happen? But I mean, during the quarantine, I've been working out, throwing, doing the right stuff every single day.
Dude's
So yeah,
forearms are literally the size of people's calves. Like, it's unbelievable. It's gross.
Hey, listen, man, whatever works to get that velo up.
exactly. You gotta do it. Gotta get the edge.
Right.
But so yeah, I'm definitely gonna still trying to play pro
Right.
ball.
And then your recruitment process, like what was that, like kind of deciding between schools, like what made your school the one that, was the one for you?
Well, so going into it, obviously I knew I wanted to play baseball, but the idea that I had always spoken to my parents with about is using baseball to get into a higher academic school that I may not have necessarily been able to get into without
Yeah.
baseball, with just grades. So it came down to, I was looking at schools like Emory, Tufts, University of Chicago, and like some of these schools, like even Emory, I don't think I was getting in without baseball. So that was really the whole idea during my recruiting process.
Gotcha. So now this is what I really want to talk about, is kind of this like unwritten rivalry between like kind of Pascal Hills and St. Joe's, because we were both in the same town, and my junior year you guys beat us, and your junior year was your big year, or I'm sorry, my junior year was your guys' big year, and then senior year, we came back and beat you, Ramsey. I'm sorry I had to get that hit off you, but listen, that's how it is, man. But so kind of talk about like from your perspective, because I feel like it wasn't really like that, my first 2 years of high school, and all of a sudden you guys really broke out, and all of a sudden there was these two teams from Montvale like battling out, like to see who's like who's the real best team. So let's start off with Paul. Like, what was it like, with you guys kind of playing us, and like just that whole situation?
So what was huge for us is we played together like our whole lives. Like, our 2 grades were just always together.
Right.
And like when we came to high school, we were like, a few of us were thinking going to private schools, Joe's being one of the huge ones for us since we do live in the same town. Like even me, like I was like very leaning towards going to Joe's or Bergen, and then we all talked and we're like, let's just stay together. We've always been good ball players together. We always used to win championships when we were younger. I didn't really want to make my family pay the extra money to go to a private high school.
Yeah.
And we stayed together. And so freshman year, like me and Brodsky's freshman year, we kind of had like a decent freshman year. I got moved up to varsity. I'd go down and play a little freshman with them, but the varsity team wasn't great. Sophomore year, we lost in the state sectionals.
Sectional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were kind of on the come up. Me and Brodsky on the varsity team, bringing like Ramsey, a few other kids up with us throughout the season. And then junior and senior year, we knew that was our year. So we kind of we we just knew that junior year, honestly, would just win the sectional, right, Brodsky? And
Junior year, we tied for the league and won the sectional. Yeah.
yeah, and then our senior year was when we knew we had to play Joe's and Bosco and all those guys in the counties, and
Yeah.
we were just so amped up, and I think everything just clicked at the right time for us. Like going back, like if we were to play Joe's 10 out of 10 times, like it might be a 5-game split. Like I mean, it's just how the cards were drawn that day and how our season aligned, and I know that was some of the best times of my life.
Right. And so I like, because from my perspective, going to a private school, I can tell you that I made relationships with guys that are unbelievable. Like just like quick in a 4-year span, like it's really unique. But then at the same time, like you guys, like from the same town, you guys all grow up together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
So like it's kind of that, like, you know, we're really close, but then we're also, so like it's always like having that like unified group, and I think you guys really had that.
yeah, and honestly, I love the kid, but John Anderson always used to play with us throughout his time because he was the Montvale guy.
Yeah.
And him knowing that he was starting against us in that semifinal game, I think that added to the fire.
That definitely amped us up.
Yeah.
I completely I would definitely agree with you. You know, like in your shoes, I would probably amp me up. So like Ramsey, is that kind of where you were at? You know, you guys kind of were. Well, actually, I know you kind of moved to Montvale late, but you know, you were still, you know, went to high school with these guys, and you guys were a close group. But, like, was that kind of same feeling for you, where like, you know, you guys were together for so long, and then just it clicked that year?
Yeah. I moved here in 6th grade, so I played basically all travel ball with our junior year for us. But I definitely felt that click. I mean, what surprised me the most and what I was so amped up about was, I mean, the staff that we had that year was crazy.
Yeah.
We don't have many guys. I think we probably had like 5 guys that can go above 90 at some point. And that's what I was like surprised about and amazed. Like, you don't have that for a pitching staff for most teams, especially a public school.
Yeah, because mostly public schools have to rely on the kids that are in their towns. I mean, the private schools kind of pick, you know, handpick from all the different towns. And so like Brodsky, I think that what Sullivan was saying, you know, when you guys were kind of deciding, like, I think right then and there that like set your fate, because you guys had the talent, like, you know, the 3 of you here and plenty of other guys on the team. You guys could have went to, you know, the bigger name private schools and probably succeeded there. But staying together, you know, I think that really just solidified what you guys were able to do. And, you know, I want to know, like, if you agree with that.
100%. It was the travel team that most of the Montvale kids played on. I even played on for like a few years when I was younger, just so that I would be able to get to know them and play with them, because I knew I would end up going to high school with them.
Yeah.
I think another big factor that led us for that motivation against you guys was that our one of our 2 losses was against Bergen. And so like that clearly put a damper on us, and like we wanted some revenge. Like when you think of baseball, I actually think I talked about this in my post-game speech for that game. When you think of like the baseball in Bergen County, you think of Joe's, Bosco, and Bergen.
Yeah.
And we lost to Bergen, so I think part of in the back of our heads, part of us is like if we lose to Joe's, people may think like, yeah, we had a successful season, but we'll never be as good as Joe's, Bosco, or Bergen. Like we won't be in the same category as them.
Yeah.
So like beating you guys not only gave us the confidence to beat Bosco in the finals, but it also gave us the persona that we could compete with the best. Like we beat the best. Like that loss against Bergen, yeah, it was tough. But, like, it was 1-0. A hit another way, another out. Like, things could have gone differently.
Yeah. And one thing I'll never forget is my sophomore year. His name was Nick Cantone. I don't know if you guys know him, but he said, you got to take pride when you wear this, St. Joe's uniform, because you walk down that hill at Demorest. You know what I mean? Like, you got to walk down to the field, like, and you're wearing, that green and gold jersey. Everyone's like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah, it's St.
Joe's is
Joe's.
here. But then all of a sudden, like, bam, you guys flip the script. Like, oh shit, it's Pass Guy Kills. And then, like, Ridgewood came, and like, oh, that's Ridgewood. Oh, that's Rutherford. So, like, the tide is changing a little bit for sure with the public schools. And, it's really just a testament to, what you guys did. And it's really awesome. Last thing, real quick, I want you guys to just tell me what that Triple Crown season meant to you, because it's so historic, and like you guys really should, hold your heads high forever, because that, like, nobody really ever knows when that's going to happen, and you guys really put together a really amazing season. So, Brodsky, tell me, what was it like being a part of that team?
I mean, the feeling was like indescribable. I mean, when Paul was talking about freshman through sophomore, junior through senior year, freshman year I was on freshman. Sophomore year we made it to the sectionals but lost. Junior year we won the league, or tied the league, won the sectionals, then lost in the first round of the groups. So we kept improving as I was moving through high school. So, like, at the beginning of senior year, I figured, like, what have we got to lose? Like, the sky's the limit. We may as well just try and win every single game we can. I mean, we only lost 2.
Right.
That season was ridiculous. Just to have your school known throughout Bergen County, to be ranked number 1 in the state. Every team in the state knew our name. And then winning the group finals, that was just the best feeling in the world.
Slightly different feeling for me and Brodsky than Ramsey is, like, we had to give up a few things, like our senior year, that like most seniors like get to like go through. Like, it doesn't really matter, but like after prom, like things like that, like we didn't get the experience because we were going for that group title.
Yeah.
And like I think just like being able to look back and like winning baseball games are more memorable than any of those type of things. And like me and Brodsky and all the kids on the team, we always joke about like how we had to miss that or whatever, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, that was like winning all those games was by far like just the best feeling in the world, honestly.
Right. And I'll tell you, from my experience, I did have an after prom house, and I was kind of going back and forth because we had games, but we played Ridgewood in the county championship game my senior year, and I would have thrown away that prom house, would have never even cared if I didn't go if we won that game. And I obviously, it was, fine, but like, winning that county championship game, I would have traded that for so many other things. Like, and, absolutely. And, Ramsey, now tell me what it was like for you. And you were kind of the top guy in that staff, and like, you were towing that rubber, and everybody, knew that it was going to be a good game.
For me, I mean, it's just a memory you kind of can't forget. Especially with the counties. I mean, back to back with the state championship, the county, and then the state group championship. It's like having a dog pile for every single one. It's like something you will never forget.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think honestly too, like our success came from pitching and defense. It was like we won, like we had Brodsky throw the county final game. We had Siegenthaler, who's a Villanova commit, come in and close the game, and then we had like a state semifinal game the next day, and like I came out through that game.
Yeah.
And like the next day, Ramsey's on the mound again. It's just like
to be able to have faith in every single pitch you throw, in even if you had like 9 games in 10 days, was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like we would go into a week knowing we had 5 games a week, and we knew we had plenty of innings.
No one would sweat at all.
Yeah, and dude, that's absolutely true. Because like my senior year, like what really held us back was we lost like 2 or 3 pitchers who are like high end D1 guys. They were younger, they were sophomores, but they were going to make a difference. And like it comes to a point where you're like Friday, Saturday at end of the week, and you're scrambling for innings. And you're absolutely right. That definitely plays a factor. But that's all I got for you guys. That was really awesome. I'm glad we got to talk about that. I never got to talk about that with like from the Hills perspective. But awesome. Thank you guys for coming on, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, signing off.